I fell in love with fitness, and it was really a game changer for me. I can say that when I first got into fitness, my head swelled up a little bit. I had that ego going that was like, yeah, if I'm going to do this, I need to have the six pack. I need to have the big arms. Like, this is the way I got to look. And I got right to that. I was super happy, but that was when I got those results, that was the second best thing. The first best thing was feeling good.
All right, welcome to the Carla Rand Show. I'm here with Chris from Any Shape Fitness, and Chris and I, we met at the gym. Yes. And we were talking about, and you're a trainer now.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, so welcome to the Carla Rand Show.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. I've heard a lot about it, and yeah, this is awesome. I appreciate you having me here.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to have you here, and it's nice to be able to talk about fitness, to talk about nutrition, to talk about things that I'm interested in and the things that I've been doing for a long time. I've been doing this for 20 years now.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, I wouldn't say you're like totally new to it, but you newer to kind of being in shape and doing the nutrition and all of that.
Absolutely.
What has that process been like for you, Chris?
Oh, it's been life-changing.
Yeah.
I was, the best way I've kind of explained it to my clients is I was never really big into fitness when I was younger. I actually graduated here in Edson, class of 2008 at Holy Redeemer High School. And I was by far not the athletic kid on the team. I was heavily involved in the drama department. I really liked my studies, but I was not focused on trying out for the local hockey team in Edson or the local, actually, I don't think we had a football team then, but if there would have been, I was nowhere near that. So I think for me, a lot of it was, I was just never really into that. I never saw myself as that, but I never pictured myself getting into a position of any kind of athleticism, because I always thought that to be an athlete, you needed to have this figure. You needed to look this certain way, male or female. And I never really considered myself at that level. So I didn't put myself on that shelf with those other people.
You're not the athletic type.
No, exactly. Just to sum it up, I wasn't. So, I grew up, I moved away from Edson. I went to, 2008, I went to the University of Alberta for a couple of years, studied sciences there. And after my second year, believe it or not, I dropped out. I didn't have the grades to continue on to do what I wanted to do. And I just really kind of fell in a slump. I didn't have an idea of what I wanted to make of myself for life, but I knew I loved dealing with people. So I found several different jobs here in the community. Right back here in Edson brought me back to where I spent my senior years, I guess, in high school. My mom and my dad had worked in Edson. My mom had already been gone, but my dad was still here. So it felt like the right place to come back to. I moved around from retail, and then eventually, long story short, I met somebody, started a life. And the more I kind of settled and relaxed, I realized, I'm getting older and I'm starting to pack on a couple pounds and I'm not really liking it. And I actually shared a video on Facebook last week with my first video I ever posted for Any Shape Fitness. And I explained to the public how with my full-time job, I'm the general manager for the Polaris dealership here in Edson. So you can imagine what kind of job that entails. A lot of work with clients, but also pretty cool, couple different perks. You get to go out and you get to go ride machines and stuff. And one of the things I've always loved doing is going out and snowmobiling with my brother and my dad. Like, that's a big passion of mine in winter. And you need to be somewhat athletic, believe it or not, to be able to go up in the mountains and be able to throw around a 400 or 500 pound machine in waist to chest deep snow. And it was probably about 3-4 years ago now, we went up because a lot of times we're going on a day trip or maybe 2 days, but generally the day we're leaving is the day we're also riding. So when you're driving to Blue River to Valemont, you're at least a 3-4 hour drive. So, you're getting up at 3-4 o'clock in the morning. And I'll tell you, like, there's nothing worse than getting up at 3-4 o'clock in the morning and feeling like absolute garbage. And I explained that to on this video last week, like, for being 28 years old, not in shape, and waking up in the morning and feeling groggy and just gross. And not only that, but exhausted at the end of the day, not even at the end of the day, but halfway through the day, just made it so hard. Mm-hmm. Right. So now, long story short, to kind of really sum up the last couple minutes is I knew that I had to make a change with my life and my lifestyle. And I knew that it would take hiring a trainer because I just didn't have it in me just to go to the gym. I felt like I didn't have a structure. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what muscle groups I should be working out on what days, how much cardio I should be doing, how much, if cardio at all, really. And nutrition was the thing. I knew that I really had to dive in on that. I was very used to waking up in the morning and, morning was my Tim Hortons coffee. This is not coffee, it's tea, but it was my Tim Hortons coffee, and a lot of times lunch, 2:00 in the afternoon, and generally fast food. And in the evenings was, you pig out on a large meal that your significant other made, and you have maybe a couple too many glasses of wine or a couple rum and cokes, and it just gets pretty casual, right? And then you wake up the next morning and you just don't feel good. So I knew I had to make a change. And if I was going to go in, I was going to spend the money and research. And eventually I ended up coming across a local trainer here in town, Miranda Tebow with Armor Fitness. And I hemmed and hawed. And I reached out and I just went all in. I'm like, I got to go for it. I got to do it. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to commit. I even committed so hard that I was making my own meals and my spouse was making his meals. And I got really serious, and changes started to happen very quickly. And a lot of people started commenting, hey, you look really good. You look good. Do you feel good? Yeah. What are you doing? What diet are you? Well, believe it or not, I'm not on a diet. I'm eating
good food.
I'm eating good food, and I'm eating in moderation and eating properly. Yeah. And that's really what it was about. And I stayed on her program for almost a year, and I fell in love with fitness. And it was really a game changer for me. I can say that when I first got into fitness, my head swelled up a little bit. I had that ego going that was like, yeah, if I'm going to do this, I need to have the six pack. I need to have the big arms. Like, this is the way I got to look. And I got right to that. I was super happy, but that was when I got those results, that was the second best thing. The first best thing was feeling good. So yeah.
So true. I know it's for me with fitness, but why do you do it? Why do you work out? Yeah, it's as much mental for me as it is physical. I feel better physically. You have more confidence, but it's the mental game. You're more alert. You're more aware. You're sleeping better. You're feeling just overall less groggy, less stuff going on in your head, and you have that clarity. So yeah, that's awesome. So what made you want to be a trainer then, Chris? Because that's kind of your shifting now to saying, okay, I've gotten really good results. I've learned a lot. Now I would like to help other people.
I think that's really what it was just helping people. For anybody that knows me and knows me being involved in the community in the past, I've been involved with quite a few activities here in the community. But all those activities that I've been involved in really have one major similarity between all of them, and that is it deals with the public. Anybody that knows me knows how much I love dealing with people. I mean, it's basically my job. I do it day in, day out, 8-9 hours a day, every second weekend, and virtually 24/7 because my phone is on my hip 24/7, and most of my clients have my numbers. So I've been doing this a long time. I've always been in customer relations, whether it be my first job here in Edson at McDonald's, or working at Volvo Rentals back in the day, or now currently Freedom. So it really just for me was, how can I take my experience and showcase it to people, especially people that are really struggling with the idea where, again, they're putting themselves on that shelf where they're comparing themselves to somebody with that athletic body type, who's going to be that Greek god or that Greek goddess, right? And needs that extra push to say, hey, you know what, if I can do it, you can do it. Because that's ultimately why I came up with the name, is because really doesn't matter who you are or what you do, you can do anything you put your mind to, right? So I think that was the biggest thing for me, is just helping people. And yeah, it was something that I fell in love with, and I love feeling good. I love looking good. It's a bonus, but I love feeling good and having the energy. The one thing about my full-time job, it does require a lot of energy when you're running a company and you're dealing with the public and a lot of stuff. And it's not like I just go home at night and sit around. Like I got a dog that I have as well, and very busy lifestyle outside of the house. So I want to make sure that I can be able to continue my busy lifestyle and be able to be healthy doing it.
and not get home at the end of the day and just be like, I'm so wore out. I'm just going to sit here for the next 3 hours.
And that's what I was doing. That's what I used to do.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't have that I didn't have that energy. I look back now and that was my life. I'd wake up. I didn't feel good. I wasn't happy, and wasn't happy with my job. Wasn't happy with, there was just a lot of things about myself I wasn't happy with and how I felt. And especially in the evenings, I can honestly remember coming home and just sitting around and doing nothing. And it affected my job. There were a couple times during the course of my career at the current job I'm at now, and a previous other one, when this was many, many years ago, when I wasn't into athleticism or fitness, was it really starts to take away from what you need to do on your full-time job, right? Or at your full-time job. So
I think people
really kind of changed.
Yeah, I think people don't always know.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that does. And I think it's like, for me, it's like, okay, you can survive, but how do you thrive? How do you sustain a busy lifestyle?
That's right.
Well into your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. How do you do that? Well, ultimately, you want to be looking after yourself in the best way possible. You want to be as healthy as you possibly can be. So when you get up, you feel good. You don't feel exhausted. And you actually have enough energy at the end of the day to walk your dog, to maybe tidy up your house, to make yourself a decent meal, whatever it is, right? And it's very difficult to get through a busy life and to be one of these kind of people that, they're working hard. It's very hard to sustain that when you're just eating junk and you're not active. Like, I think a lot of people don't realize how much of a factor nutrition and fitness actually is when it comes to how you're feeling and how you're getting through your days and your life. Like, we all want to have a good, fulfilling life where we can be active and we can do all these things. But if you don't look after your health, then you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. That's how I see it.
Yeah. And ultimately, we have one shot. And that's kind of that's what really made me hone in on this, is you have one life. A few years ago, I lost my stepmom. I lost my aunt it would be 2 years ago. And both of them at very young ages, right? So I'm 32 now. So you stop and think back and you're like, whoa, I graduated 12, 13, 14 years ago. Right here in this town, it seems really surreal, and just time just keeps going. I mean, you've been doing this for 20 years, so I'm sure you can attest that we're getting older and time is flying by quicker when we're getting older. And the thing is, we get one life and that's it. So I would rather make the best of my life and enjoy it while I still can, rather than make the mistakes that one might make and limit their chances of being able to do the things that they want to do when they're older. Right? That they might not be able to, right? So that was another big thing for me too, that I also kind of thought of in the back of my mind is, you know what? I want to be able to go out and do stuff when I'm older.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like, why just have all the fun when you're young and then you spend the rest, the next 30 years of your life, or the last 30 years of your life, I suppose, just basically sitting around because you can't get around. I mean, it's different if you have, people have health issues that come up. There's really nothing you can do about it. But there's a lot that you can do when it comes to your fitness and nutrition. So why wouldn't you do that?
That's right.
And when it comes to you talk about a trainer, and not everybody sees the value in that. But I think when I talk to people and they're like, yeah, I go to the gym, but I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. Kind of how you talked about, do I do cardio? Do I do work my arms, my legs? What kind of splits do I do in the gym? They don't have a clue where to start, and they're intimidated by even walking into the gym. But you get a trainer that meets you at the door. Hey, how you doing? Let's go. And they get you going and you get set up. And I mean, you don't necessarily even have to work with a trainer for a year. You might only work with a trainer for a month, maybe 2 months. Yeah. And maybe that's all you need to get going, right? Or maybe it's even just a few sessions initially and then kind of follow-up sessions. But I feel like why wouldn't you get someone to help you so that you can kind of, I guess it's the progress that goes quicker, right? Because there's sometimes you see people in the gym and I mean, they're doing their best, but they might be doing something wrong. So they could be really injuring themselves over time if they continue to do that. Yeah. Right? They might be just doing things ineffective. Maybe they're just not really lifting very heavy weights. They're just kind of, you almost feel like, oh man, buddy, if you could just adjust this a little bit, you could be getting such good results, right? So I think what a trainer allows you to do is just to progress a lot quicker. Yeah. Right? Without injury.
That's right.
So that you can continue to do it forever.
Yeah. I would agree with you. And it's definitely interesting to see how many people, on the first comment you made, back to what I was saying earlier, with how many people don't actually realize what they need to do. I can remember hands down when I joined Miranda's program a couple of years ago, my first day in the gym, I went into the gym. I got up that morning at, I think, 4:30, 5 o'clock. I made my breakfast that she laid out for me on my meal plan. And I went to the gym, Sierra here in town at the time. And I will honestly say I did not push nearly to my limit. I didn't even know. I felt so out of place. And my only saving grace was there were 2 other people in the gym at the time, and they were about at the same level fitness-wise that I was. So I didn't feel as intimidated as I normally would. But if I definitely was going there at a peak hour with a lot of, gym junkies that are there all the time, pumping that weight, yeah, I would be like, whoa, like, okay, I don't know if this is for me or not. So there are people out there like that still to this day. And even if they do have the confidence, again, they still might not know. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty interesting to see if you can give those clients that little bit of information to be able to, hey, this is how you could target this, or this is how you can work on this, just giving them that extra confidence. And it doesn't have to be a ton of weight. It'd just be showing them proper technique and what they have to do, right?
And so much of it is confidence, Chris. Like I think of, when people first come in the gym, and a lot of it, good for you for what you did, because you have to get over that ego. I seriously think that a lot of people that don't go in the gym, and like myself included, because I didn't want to go in the gym for many years. Yeah. And it's because people are going to judge me. What are people going to think? You know what I mean? I am supposed to be the athletic type because I played basketball and whatever, although I never really lifted weights or anything. But I'm supposed to be like, I'm going to go in there. People are going to be looking at me thinking I should know what I'm doing. And what if I do something and people laugh at me, or they're like, oh my goodness, she doesn't know. Like there's that ego that you have to get over.
They're very much it.
You have to leave it at the door and be like, you know what? And I've had clients say, you know what, Carla, I don't even care what anybody thinks. Like I just got to get in there, whatever. And it's like they leave that ego at the door. And I think that's so important in order to progress, because as long as you are so worried about what people are going to think of you, or that you're going to fail, or that you're not going to look cool or whatever, that's going to be a huge hindrance. And it's not just the young people. Like a lot of older people have that ego too. And again, it's not that the ego is necessarily bad, but you have to be able to put that aside and maybe look a little goofy for the first little while your trainer helps you and adjusts you, right? And I mean, that's kind of what you do. And then you progress, and then pretty soon you're going in there, your head is high, chest is up, shoulders up. You feel great, and you know exactly, you go straight to that machine, you know exactly what to do. And there's no worry anymore.
Yeah. And it's, I use a line that I constantly try to tell myself this. I wouldn't say daily, but definitely weekly. And this is something that actually my dad taught me when we were younger. I have a younger brother and 2 younger sisters. And growing up in my high school years, there was a point where the 4 of us were involved in mini sprint car racing down at Castro Raceway. So dirt oval, going out, having fun on the weekends, parents kind of keeping us in their arm's reach so that we didn't get involved in maybe something we probably shouldn't have gotten involved in. Anyway, long story short is very small class, very small club. And it involved us basically driving motorized vehicles competitively against other people, and in some case, even against our own siblings. And then the one thing my dad had always taught me is the one thing he'd always said to us, especially to me, but it kind of really kept with me all these years, is your biggest competitor is you. So you can go out there, you can race all day long and try to beat the guy behind you, whether it be your brother, your sister, or your friend. But at the end of the day, you need to focus on beating yourself. Yeah. And that's one thing that I kind of really preach to myself weekly is, I can go in there and I can try to lift the heaviest weight and be the show off guy. But at the end of the day, it's not doing me anything but harm. You know what I mean? So I go in that attitude that, I'm going to try to do better than I did last week, or at least maintain where I'm at. And I think that's where everybody should really think. And you kind of touched on that too, is not having that ego. Go in there and it's about you. A lot of people think that fitness needs to be like going to the gym. You have to push hours and hours and hours in a week in order to get results. And you really don't have to. All you have to do is you just got to show up and dial in, dig deep, push hard, and just commit that time, whether it be that hour and a half, or maybe you only have half an hour time, and focus it on what you want rather than worrying about what everybody else thinks and what everybody else wants to.
So true. It's like, because really you're there for yourself. You're there to improve yourself.
Nobody's paying your gym membership.
No.
Nobody's paying your trainer but you. So if you're going to do it, you need to be the one to do it, hands down.
And there's always going to be somebody that's going to be weaker than you. And there's always going to be somebody that's stronger than you. Yeah. So you got to get over it pretty quick, right?
You do. Yeah, absolutely you do.
Because Yeah. But the nice thing about the gym too, I find in the atmosphere is like there is always somebody that's a little bit ahead of you.
Yes.
And there are always people that you can encourage that are maybe, just starting or whatever. So it kind of keeps you sharp, right? Like if you don't always want to be the strongest one in the room, because if you're always the strongest one in the room, then you start to like, it's hard to keep pushing ahead, but you see somebody else, you're like, oh, I never thought of doing it that way.
Yeah.
Or, hey, like, look what they can lift. Oh man, like maybe I should be challenging myself more here, and it kind of encourages you. And I find it a very inspiring atmosphere.
Yes.
Yeah. I really enjoyed, being at Golden Gains Gym and just like the positive atmosphere there.
I love
like
it there.
It's been really, really.
It's been really good. I started going there. When did I officially go there? I think I reached out to Ashley. It would have been back in the fall when I had heard that there was a new gym in it, and it's had expressed interest and said, hey, I'm looking at doing a fitness deal. Just curious to know how this works with a trainer or whatever. Like I'm not looking at even taking on clients. I just want to come in and work out. Oh yeah, like that's not a problem at all. Awesome. And she's been great to deal with. And like you said, the atmosphere has been awesome. I think I officially signed up probably about a month and a half ago. And I've been working out in my garage for the last 7 months, I think. A garage that we kind of built that has a lot of good equipment, but it doesn't have everything. And when you really want to push that extra hard, or push extra hard, you want to have the right tools to be able to do that. So I'm like, you know what, I better go get a gym membership. And then not only that, but get out there in the public a little bit more and hope I'm going to meet a couple new people, whether it be clients or yourself or even Ashley. And, the experience has been super rewarding. It's a really nice facility. And for anybody that's new getting into fitness, that's trying to decide on a really good fitness studio here in town, it is a really good fitness studio in town, just like the other two. I think there's Core Conditioning as well as Sierra Fitness. So all three of them are really good to be at. But I was really impressed with Golden Gains, coming out of the gate as a brand new setup and doing what they did. So it was really nice.
Yeah. And Ashley is really nice to work with. So Any Shape Fitness. Okay.
Yeah.
So you talked about that name a little bit.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit, so why Any Shape Fitness? Why not strong and fit fitness or whatever?
I think when it really boiled down to coming up with a name, it's funny because I'm not the only one that can take credit for helping me come up with this name. My family had a really big part in helping me put together. It was like the one thing that I probably struggled with the most. I still got a lot of stuff, still a lot of pieces that I'm playing along with right now to kind of put together and get the final result. But that was the one thing that I struggled. And for me, I think the biggest struggle with it was I did not want to sound intimidating.
Right.
That was the biggest thing. There are a lot of really good names out there, so I didn't want to obviously copy anybody, and you have to watch to see what's out there. But the last I wanted to do is I wanted to be somebody very inviting. Anybody that knows me knows I'm a very inviting person, a very friendly person. I'm very easy to talk to. Like I said, I do work with the public, so I'm a very big people person, right? So the last thing I wanted was somebody second guessing whether or not to make the call to talk to me, or just coming up to me by seeing a logo on my shirt or whatever and thinking, you know what, this is not for me. This is that head swollen ego, jacked up muscle dude kind of fitness going for him. He's only looking after this. He's only looking at this kind of physique. And I want much more than that, I think, out of clients. I want clients to be able to feel confident knowing that they can come forward and they can ask anything, you know what I mean? Because mindset, you kind of touched on that. It's a huge deal with fitness. I didn't realize how big it was until I really dived into it and really kind of found myself in it a little over a year ago. And it's one thing to be able to pump a lot of weight and eat all the right food, but you kind of have to mentally be in it too. And we all have our good days. We all have our bad days. I tell that to a lot of people as well. I still struggle too, just like anybody else. But the biggest thing is how you can take those struggles and make yourself better is what I find. So I think for me, Any Shape Fitness was finding that name that anybody can hear. It doesn't matter whether you're jacked up already and you're wanting to enter competition. I did do a strength and conditioning specialty with the ISSA. So that was kind of one thing I really want to focus in, because it's something I always really liked, was the idea of working more dialed in with a client that has I wouldn't say a stronger approach to their goals, but whether it be a competition coming up, like they have a short-term goal that they want to hit and they want to reach it. So I want to be able to attract those clients, but at the same time too, somebody that's, again, very new to it. Maybe they work a full-time job and they're a single parent and they don't know how they can find the time. And single parent or not, maybe it's just somebody that's just working a shift type schedule or just a crazy busy work life, and they get home and they're exhausted and they don't know what to do, just like me, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe they're another Chris that dealt with what he was dealing with 3-4 years ago plus, and never the athletic type, and now just wants to be better healthy wise, right? And then end up getting great results. So I kind of want to be that person. It's hard because we kind of talked about this in our coffee date the other day about really honing in on kind of that niche market. And I haven't really found that particular niche market that I want to work with. Ultimately, I'd love to work with everybody. I think that should be the goal for every trainer. You want to work with everybody and inspire everybody. But I mean, at the end of the day, you really got to hone in on maybe somebody particular you want to work with. The more I think about it, I think I really want to work with some of those specialized athletes, but I really like the idea of working with somebody that was just like me. Like I said, another Chris from 3-4 years ago, right?
Someone that's just sitting there saying, I don't really know what to do, but I think I got to lose a few pounds. And I think maybe I should start lifting some weights because I'm maybe losing my strength or whatever. Help me out, Chris. Yeah. So if they do want to work with you, or at least they want to talk to you, where would they go, Chris? Where's a good place for them to reach out to?
The best place for them to reach out to me is probably Instagram. That's probably the easiest. I am on Facebook. I use Facebook a lot, so anybody that knows me can probably reach me through there. I started my Facebook Any Shape Fitness page on there. I have not done very much with it there yet. I'm still working on a lot of that. Same thing with the Any Shape Fitness Instagram page, but I push a lot of my content on my Instagram page, CorsoDad90. I've used that for most of everything. And the other way people can get a hold of me is usually through my phone number. A lot of people have my number. I don't know how people get my number that easy, but it is out there. And they can reach out to me, and I can hook you up with Chris too if you want to talk to him. And I think really the message here is don't wait and don't worry. Right? Like if you feel like you need to do something, but you only have an hour here or an hour there, or you're not sure how to squeeze it in and you don't know, but you just know that you need to do something, just have a chat. Start with a chat. There's no obligation. Yeah. Have a little chat, because at the end of the day, you want to help clients. I want to help clients. We want to make sure people are progressing and that people are living a really good life. That's right. And able to do all the things that they want to do and not struggling with all these health issues or low energy or whatever, and not able to really get out of their life what they could be getting out of it. That's right. Absolutely. And I'm definitely a firm believer of all that stuff. I want to work with people. So like if you're definitely somebody that's struggling, and maybe you're somebody that just, you need somebody to talk to. That's one thing I've put a lot on my page too. I've seen it before with a few other friends of mine that are trainers, as well as even myself with a couple clients that I've worked with a little bit here and there, is what ends up being more of a fitness journey for them, believe it or not, kind of turns into a bit of a mindset training. If it's kind of how you say that, you know what I mean? It's hard to explain. I wouldn't consider myself a life coach. I don't consider myself old enough to understand that I've gone through, that I've had enough life experiences to really give that kind of advice. So I would be the wrong person to give that on a full-time basis. But I can say that I feel like I've definitely lived had a lot of experiences that I can share, and just be someone that can listen. How do you say this? A listener. Yeah, just be to bounce ideas off of, maybe. Yeah. I know that's what I often do. Like people, I don't really know what to do, Carl. I'm not sure. Well, let's have a call. Let's talk. And often at the end of the call, like they may or may not work with me, but at the end of the call, I'm hoping that they're at least going to have a little bit more clarity, a little bit more like, okay, this is what it would look like to train. Here's how I could get good results. Here's about how many times a week I should do it. And now it's like the method that they use is fine, but like just a little bit of guidance. Yeah. You know? And again, like when it comes to fitness, I mean, something is always better than nothing. So if you can't get to the gym, or you just start walking, yes, absolutely. Walk your dog, walk active. Somebody else's dog, like, I don't know, figure it out, like just get moving. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize is they think that in order to be fit, you need to go to the gym. Yeah. And, you know, with COVID, I mean, I hate to use that word because I think a lot of us are very done with that word, but, that put a large impact on a lot of people. I know a lot of people that really struggled fitness wise during COVID. I too had a hard time with it, but I stuck to it and I stuck to my guns and I had my goals and I was strong mentally. But there are people that struggled with it. So I think the biggest thing that people have to understand is if you want it bad enough, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily, the other thing is it doesn't have to be fitness. It doesn't have to be gym involved. You don't have to go to the gym to get results. You can do this at home. You can, like you said, you can go out, increase your cardio, go out and go for a walk with your kids or your spouse or your dog, or just by yourself. Take a few minutes, take that 5, 15, 20-minute break out of the day, relax, breathe, think about what you want and go for a walk and do what you need to, right? So I think fitness has for a long time been very stereotyped into being this gym industry, and it doesn't need to be.
And it doesn't need to be all or nothing either.
No.
I think a lot of people, if I can't commit to 5 days a week for an hour at the gym, then I'm not going to do anything. And that's the kind of thing that really sabotages a person.
Yeah.
And we got to give more credit to just people that walk, and yes, adding strength training is very helpful, especially as you age, but that doesn't mean you have to do that,
no.
Right? Like start somewhere and then see where it goes,
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Because at the end of the day, you will have clients that can only commit so much, and you will have clients that can only commit to this much. I have one person that I talked to, actually, I think it was my uncle, when him and my aunt were looking at joining the program. He works a very busy schedule, and he said straight up, he's like, I'm not prepared to work out like 6 days a week.
Yeah.
He's like, even 5 is hard for me, right? So there are definitely ways around it. As you know, being a trainer, we can build that all into however you want to see it. It all depends on what your goals are, right? As a person.
And you can get pretty good results with half an hour if you structure it right. I mean, yes, an hour is better, but you can do pretty good with half an hour if you're doing it regularly. And I think that, we got to give more credit to just a little bit is better than nothing instead of it has to be everything. So Chris, anything that we haven't talked about that we should talk about, anything that left that you want to share before we wrap this up?
I don't really know, to be honest with you. I think the biggest thing to, I guess, let people know that are listening is, if you were somebody like me that struggled with thinking you would never be at an athletic level, that you never put yourself in that category or that clique of people, just know that you can do anything you set your mind to. It doesn't matter. I hate to pat myself on the back and make my ego swell a little bit right now by saying it, but I have done it. And I do it every day. Like I go up, I show up every day. I try. You do it every day. Like I go to Golden Games, try to be there every morning.
Hey,
and
Chris,
you are there
morning.
every morning. When I'm there at 6:30, 7 o'clock, you were there. And I think just people need to take away that, fitness doesn't have to be just one thing. It could be a lot of different things. And there are people here in the community that are willing to help. I'm here to help. You're here to help. Miranda and I think Corin are here to help. There's a lot of us trainers here. Ashley is here to help. There's so many of us. It's just know that we were all there. We all started from somewhere.
Yeah. Right.
We all started at some level and we all had to get to where we are. And if we can do it, you can do it. And that's not just fitness wise too. It could be any goal in your life. It could be career wise. It could be a passion you have for it. It doesn't have to be fitness. If you dream it, you will do it. You just got to put that plan into action and you got to just push hard and dig deep. That's what I tell my clients anyway. Dig deep.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Nobody's born with a dumber in their hand.
No,
you got to go discover that later. Yeah. No, that's good. And I think it's so true, Chris. And I mean, I want to say to you, kudos to you, because when I first met you at the gym, we got talking right away. I was just like, you were so inviting, so positive, big smile and nice to meet you, Carla. We're talking and I'm just like, holy cow, this guy has what it takes to really impact people. And so right away I was like, I'm all in. I'd like to chat with you and get you on the podcast and, collaborate a little bit and I don't know, help you out or at least just learn from each other, And so that's been really good. And I think that, people should know too that maybe you're good on the podcast or whatever, but if you just see you in the gym or on the street or whatever, you're that kind of person. You're the kind of person that's going to make you feel welcome.
Yeah.
And not going to in no way did I feel at all you were trying to compete with me or anything. It was just hey, nice to meet you. Right.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's, two heads are better than one.
Yes.
Right. And I'd rather work with people and learn because it's like you said, you got 20 years experience. I don't have 20 years experience. Ashley has way more years of experience than I do. Same thing. It's just, how can we work together to be able to look after people in this community, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just Edson. I mean, it's Yellowhead County. There's people that come from all over to seek help, right? So no, I think it's good to definitely work together and
yeah, I think it's awesome. I think everybody's different. Like some people are going to resonate more with you and your style, and some people with Ashley, some people with me, some people with like these different trainers, right? And I think that's the thing. It's like find out what trainer you're going to resonate with the most and seek them out, even if it's just for a conversation, you know, and figure it out that way. But start somewhere. Like just get going, get doing something.
Yeah,
I'd say so.
Absolutely.
Good, awesome. Thanks, Chris, for being on here.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
No, I appreciate the invite. This is awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, it's Carla. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast today. I have 3 things I want to tell you about myself. But first, please go check out my company, Power Fitness Online. PowerFitnessOnline.com or Power Fitness Online, Facebook or Instagram. What I do there is I help you, I train you so you can get fit, strong, healthy, have energy, feel good, and be at your best. Because in this life, we want to be at our best. I do, you do, we all do. So here's 3 facts about myself. Number 1, I've been a fitness trainer for 20 years. Yes, 20 years. Number 2, I'm 5'4" 3/4, not 5'4.5", none of that. 5'4" 3/4. Number 3, I have 6 kids. Yes, they're all my own. None of them were twins. They're all my own. I had them one at a time. And I love my kids so much. So remember, go to powerfitnessonline.com if you want to get fit and stay fit.